badge number for all of us to see. We may have tweeted his station chief's email and phone numbers so that people could call in and voice their displeasure. After only 10 hours, we found out through local media he was under investigation for his tweets online. So this is just one thing that you can do. You can take notice of violent rhetoric and violent actions by police in the establishment. But this is what we call a teachable moment. You should watch what you say online, especially if you're the police, and especially if you have violent tendencies. So not only does it provide teachable moments for our opponents, we can find lessons for ourselves in recent events. Another area of criticism for us is censorship. We hate it. We should all hate it. It's a real threat to freedom everywhere. But we hate it even more when laws are shrouded in secrecy. I'm sure most of you have heard of SOPA. There's been a huge internet blackout just a couple of weeks ago. What people are not as aware of yet is ACTA and the Trans-Pacific Partnership. ACTA is very similar to SOPA, but it uses some arcane methods to get it shoved down everyone's throat, and that's international treaties. And they try to do that very quietly. It should be noted that we wouldn't have known about ACTA's details had WikiLeaks not told the world. They should be commended for their efforts in getting out the truth on this. That said, if you know anything about secret censorship plans, please do the world a favor. Leak it. Be a whistleblower. Governments aren't going to volunteer this information for us. So hours after SOPA was shelved, we started to tweet about ACTA. And we focused on Poland because it was due to be voted on. And I think it was just 2 days. So in 2 days, we were able to get the information out. And this is what we saw. We saw, I don't know, 10, 15,000 people in the streets of Poland. And it was a pretty amazing thing to see. Poland eventually signed it anyway, to the dismay of its people and even some of the politicians. An interesting outcome was that the politicians were so upset about it, the leftist politicians in Poland joined Anonymous for a day. Poland has since made public comments saying that they may not ratify the treaty. I really hope they don't. And I hope other European countries follow suit in Poland and protest and get the information out about this crazy censorship. So this taught us some things. What we learned is that the United States is behind this effort in pushing for censorship in Europe. We learned that through denial of service, as well as traditional real-world protest and activism, we can have an effect on the political process. Politicians were quoted as saying that they didn't really take notice of the severity of ACTA until the denial of service. So we may need to start embracing this as a tactic. I just wish that law enforcement would not treat it so severely right now, and it needs to change. The third thing we learned is that this is an info war. This is the most important thing. We're in a fight for the truth. When it's being hidden from us, we need to call it what it is, tyranny. Any country that calls itself free or democratic cannot be allowed to hide legislation or treaties from the world, especially not from its own people. If we treated spying on us as seriously as governments treat it, we would be living in a much more free and fair world. When we demand demand transparency from our governments, and they listen, then governments will start becoming more compatible with us. I'd like to encourage everyone here to start demanding transparency. Force the government's hand, leak documents, be a whistleblower, tell the truth.